Hello, welcome to episode 32 of the Harry Potter painting series, and this one we're doing Arthur Weasley. I have to apologise because of the nature of doing tartan. I couldn't get a camera close enough while I was really close to the miniature doing the stripes, so apologies for that, but I have done the guide within the video using stills, so hopefully you'll be able to follow the process along. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Alright, start as always with a Zenithal Prime. The trousers are done with Vallejo's Deck Tan, just a couple of thin coats. Faces in episode 17, it's exactly the same process, same colours used, same techniques. The hair is Skrag brown, same as all the other Weasleys. For the jumper, it's Vallejo's Vermillion brown. Sorry, Vermillion red. You can't get a Vermillion brown, can you? Just a couple of thin coats just to get a nice even coverage before moving on to the next stage. So this is a dark green. Any dark green will do. I think I use Scale 75's Merm green. The trick is here, just to thin your paint with flow improver and use reference points on the mini, like at the top of the collar where it meets the jacket. Just draw a straight line down from there to the edge of the pocket at the bottom. So you can do that on both sides, and then evenly space lines in between, and then put one on the outside of those lines then, and then you can start thickening them out to make sure, try and get them the same width, so you get a nice even stripe going down a jumper. And then you need to start thinking about the horizontal lines going across. So I use reference points again there at the pockets where his hands are. So put the first one in there, and then just marked on the jacket then where I thought the next lines were going to be, so they were evenly spaced. And use the same thing again. It's flow improver in your paint and just work your way up the jumper until you get all those lines put in. But the trick is to try and keep them evenly spaced and the same thickness. Once you get that sorted, I think you're on to a winner then. You can start fiddling about on the next stage then. So once you're happy with all your lines in place and the thicknesses and the spacing, you can carry on to the next stage then. The next stage I added some beige red, another Vallejo colour to the Vermilion red, just to lighten it up. And then I did highlights on where the red lines cross over, so you make you intensify the colour on that square. And I go around the edges first and then fill in the centre part. Next stage was to line the green squares. I used dark sea blue mixed with black, and again keeping it thin with flow improver. Slowly make your way around the squares, and then I used the black blend to run through all the red stripes then to get a black line running up and down then. So that's the trickier part of it, but once you start to get into it, it does get easier. The next bit was using an off-white then to run through the other squares then, so you're running up and down across the green squares. As I say, you use the flow improver and things will be a lot easier to do. But once that's the end of the really tricky bits then. So if you need to do any tidying up after that, this is the time to do it. So you can add little highlights here and there if you need to. Then you can start thinking about highlighting the hair. I used Skrag brown and then an Agrax wash, and then you start highlighting it then by adding in some Fire Dragon Bright, and then if you wanted to go lighter again, you used Aerial Yellow, and get some nice highlights going there. And then we did the jacket then with Steel Legion Drab. It'll take a couple of coats to do that, but then once you get that, you can carry on with the rest of the video then in the next stage. So onto the trousers, I've been using Vallejo's Deck Tan, and what I've been doing is there's an initial thin layer, but then what I've been doing is adding more layers but into the highlight areas. Still keeping it quite thin, but I've just been going just add like more intensity to the highlighted areas, and it actually builds up a nice transition because I've still got the shadows there from the zenithal priming. It looks quite good. So the plan is to highlight it then by adding a little bit of ivory into the mix. So that's what I've got now, and then I'm going, if I had a nice tip on my brush I'd be okay, but I haven't at the minute. Okay, now. So what I'm doing is in the top part of the highlight there, okay. So just going in with another highlight now. Same, I haven't changed it at all, still about a 50-50 mix of the Dectan and Ivory. With the previous highlight I was starting about there and coming down, but this one I'm a bit nearer, a bit further down the highlight, a bit further down the crease. And that helps to build it up. And then run the side of your brush up along that crease there. I think this might be all that he needs actually. We'll see what it dries like, and then if we do another highlight I'll probably just add a little bit of ivory to it, and keeping it thin I'll put another. I've got a little bit more ivory on there. Just highlighting the creases, and I think the trousers are done. I'll go into the jacket. So we've got one coat of Steel Legion Drab on there. What I'm going to do is do another coat because it's still quite patchy. So I'm after like a nice even coverage on it. I'll be ready for the highlight. For the highlights I've got a mix of 50-50 Steel Legion Drab and Balor Brown. So I'm just going to pick out all the highlight areas, tops of creases. You got that wrong there, and they pull the pigment up into the highlight area. I was going down the way, wasn't I, to start with? School by error. Okay, and on the back, I've done this bit already, but what I did with the larger areas, I'm going to leave that bit in shadow. So I'll highlight this with the 50-50 mix. I haven't bothered cleaning my brush, so I've got like a mix on there now. Just coming out of the shadow areas, it's more like a mix of the 50-50 mix with the original base coat. But now I've got the original base coat now, and I'm going into the darker shadow just to bring it back. So it's like a bit of a blend, but it's quite subtle. So I'll do it again. So I've got the 50-50 mix here. A little bit of shadow there, so I'll dip it into the Steel Legion Drab, and I'll put the shadow in there and just blend it around the edge. I'm going to go lighter again up on the shoulders anyway, so that's all good. I've got some of that deck tan still on my palette, so I'm going to add that to the 50-50 mix and see what we get from that, to use as a highlight again. So I'm going to pick out the creases. And push up into the light area. Okay, so the highlights are starting to come now. I'm going to do this one again here, down here. Get a little bit of the mix that I added in the deck tan or the ivory to the 50-50 mix, so I made it lighter. I'm going to go this side of it with the 50-50 mix, just feather it in, and then the base coat on the outside of that then. Just get a nice little transition going. So I'm going to add some ivory to the Steel Legion Drab just for the extreme edges now, just to pick out the edges of the coat and the cuff. And I'll probably do the lapels as well. I might need to do that with the camera out of the way. So to finish off, I used a bit of Agrax mixed with a little bit of brown ink to go in between the jumper and the jacket, just to define everything. And I think we're there. I use the same bit to go, what I do with the shoes, I go around the side with this Agrax and ink. I went around the side like that and up the top, and then put a little blob on the instep of the foot, because I can't be bothered to highlight shoes. No, I think we're there. I'll take some pictures and we'll do a wrap up. And there we are, finished on his base, looking good. Quite enjoyed this one, even though it was a bit of a pain to do the tartan, but I think it came out alright, so I'm happy. Any questions, as always, get involved in the comments below. I'll try and help you out as much as I can, as soon as I can. Yeah, it's quite an enjoyable one, so yeah, let's crack on with the rest of them. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.